Hey, you guys. My name is Paul Meyer, and I direct Global Missions, WSN, in the Southeast. And I want to take just a minute with you to share about the upcoming National Day of Prayer and kind of where our heart is for our region. And you've probably seen that the Day of Prayer is going to be October 2nd this year, which is coincidentally 10/2. And if you've been in the region for a while, you know that that's been kind of a prayer emphasis of ours for the last few years. About maybe 5 years ago, we looked at that passage together as a region and really started focusing on it and asking the Lord to raise up laborers for the harvest, realizing that we can come up with slick brochures and have a lot of great programs and do some great recruiting for laborers. But Jesus said there's a way to approach that. He said by asking the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers. And I like this passage as opposed to the Matthew 9 passage because where Jesus says the same thing to pray to the Lord of the harvest for laborers. Because in 10, 1 and 2, I'll set it up in a second, but let me say this. I'll read it in a second. If you're familiar with this, we're expanding it today and really, hopefully, for this time of prayer we have coming up, to really the passages that precede and follow 10:2, because I think there's something I hadn't focused on that I feel is very important, especially in our culture, in light of the laborers we're raising up and want to see raised up. But I'll read from 10. If you got a Bible, you can pull that out and track along. But in 10:1, it says this: After this, the Lord appointed 72 others and sent them on ahead of him, two by two, into every town and place where he himself was about to go. So I love this passage because the Matthew passage talks about Jesus having compassion for the multitudes, which I love, but this one relates to us because we are going out to proclaim the kingdom coming on our campuses across the region, around the world. And so he says he's sending out laborers to go out and do this. And he says, as you're going, he said, and he said to them in verse 2, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few, and therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. So as you're going out, proclaiming the kingdom on campus, that you'd be continuing to ask the Lord of the harvest to raise up laborers for the harvest. But to expand it now and look at take the next minute or so to look at the passage preceding it, and even a little bit after that, who Jesus was talking to. In chapter 9, verse 57, up to the end of the chapter, it's the passage where it's the cost of following Jesus. And they said, as they were going along the road, someone said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. To another he said, follow me. But he said, Lord, let me first go bury my father. And Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead. But as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Yet another said, I will follow you, Lord, but first let me say farewell to those at home. And Jesus said to him, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. After this, chapter 10, verse 1, after he said these things, then he appointed these 72 and said, now go proclaim my kingdom. And boy, that's striking because he's saying what kind of laborers he's expecting for us to pray. I do think the slick brochures and a passionate appeal can quickly get some people on a plane or to an outreach. But I think the kind of laborer that we need to pray for is kind of described in those verses that precede this passage. And he went on to tell them after. He goes, now go your way. As you're going, pray. And then go, and I'm sending you out as lambs in the midst of wolves. And I think that's a special kind of labor that no amount of recruiting on our own can raise up. And that's the kind of labor we're going to need to see, especially in a culture that's so self-centered, self-consumed nowadays. Man, we've got to beseech the Lord of the harvest. Would you raise up these type of laborers, these laborers who are willing to sacrifice and to take this posture of release and letting go of our own desires and saying, God, you are my Lord, and I'll go wherever you want me to go, and I'll follow you wherever you want me to go, and I don't want to put my hand to the plow and turn back. That's the kind of laborers we want to pray for our region and for the nations. So we encourage you to pray in light of that today or when October 2nd comes, 10/2 comes. And we're going to have an opportunity for you to actually partner with other campuses and pray for one another across the region. So it'll be pretty cool as we do that across the region together. But there's kind of the heart of this passage for us that we want to encourage you to pray towards. Pray the Lord of the harvest raise up these type of laborers, and that we ourselves would be these type of laborers as well. So thanks for the last few minutes. Have a great day.